Israel was affected in 1990 by events far from its borders. In August 1990, Iraq, ruled by Saddam Hussein, invaded oil-rich Kuwait and quickly captured it. The fear was that the Iraqis would go on to invade Saudi Arabia. The United States, under President George Bush, assembled an international coalition, first to defend Saudi Arabia and then to liberate Kuwait. That coalition included most Arab states. It did not include Israel, for fear of upsetting America's Arab partners. That did not stop Iraq from threatening Israel, which it did in December, stating that if it were attacked, it would attack Israel. Israel took the threat seriously, and in December 1990 distributed gas masks to the whole population. Anyone arriving in Israel was given a gas mask at the airport. On the night between January 17th and 18th, 1991, U.S. and Allied forces began attacking Iraqi positions in Kuwait and Iraq. The next night, Iraq fired its first missile at Israel. The citizens of Israel all put on their gas masks, entered special rooms, and waited. For a few minutes, the country collectively held their breath. Would the missile carry chemical weapons? Might it by chance have an atomic warhead? The first missile struck open field, and much to the relief of the country, it carried only conventional warheads. No gas, no biological weapons, and certainly no nuclear weapons. Over the course of a month, Iraq fired 38 missiles, primarily at the Tel Aviv and Haifa areas. It killed 2 people, but injured 208, and caused significant physical damage to buildings. The Israeli government was under intense pressure to respond, but under the urging of the United States, Israel did not respond to the attacks and left that response to the U.S. and other Allied forces who tried to neutralize the missiles, a role they had only moderate success in doing. The United States also sent Patriot missile batteries, which were manned by U.S. personnel, to attempt to stop the missiles. This was the first time American service members were sent to Israel to defend it. In one of the highlights of the period, as violence reigned in Ethiopia, the Israeli government and the Jewish agency reached a secret agreement to give a $50 million bribe to the leaders of the Ethiopian governments, who would then allow the Jews to leave. In 2 days, Israel sent 36 planes to Ethiopia to airlift 14,400 Ethiopian Jews, what was called Operation Shlomo. On one El Al 747, 1,087 passengers flew, a record for any plane that stands to this day. The United States, in the aftermath of the Gulf War, convened an international conference in Madrid on Middle East peace. Prime Minister Shamir was reluctant to take part but felt he had little choice. It was the first peace conference that included leaders of both Israel and the Arab states, as well as Palestinians. While it achieved little, it represented a psychological breakthrough. Throughout the period, the relations between Israel and the American government were tense. The Israeli government desperately sought U.S. loan guarantees to help raise money to settle the waves of Soviet and Ethiopian immigrants who were coming to the country. The Bush administration, however, conditioned that aid on a cessation of all settlement building in the West Bank and Gaza, something the Shamir government would not agree to. In June of 1992, elections were held. In it, the Labour Party, led by Yitzhak Rabin, who had defeated Shimon Peres to lead the party, won that election. For the second time, Yitzhak Rabin had become Prime Minister.